phone. Hello, show me your blessing. First you placed your old soul on my second game. You're seeking me in more than a game. Okay.
It goes without saying that RPGs are a lovely thing. It's just a shame to say that it's extremely difficult to find one that exceeds the typical run-of-the-mill placeholders within the genre. Too few are the actual unique RPGs that fly under our noses and turn out to be a great success. The World Ends With You for the Nintendo DS is such a game. The World Ends With You is an astonishingly groundbreaking and beautiful game for the DS that was originally released in July of 2007 in Japan and then 2008 in the US. It's inviting, it's extremely original, and it's just so spectacular. You take control as the very reserved and somewhat harsh Neku Sakuraba, a young boy who one day wakes up in the middle of Shibuya of Tokyo, Japan, with no recollection at all as to how he got there or what happened to him prior to that day. The meat of the plot follows the adventures of Neku as he discovers that his fate is no longer up to him, and is now trapped in a crude game of life or death as he is stringed along in order to keep intact what little bit of humanity he has left, as well as save those he meets along the way. Without spoiling much, it goes without saying that The World Ends With You is a big to diffuse plot that deserves any and all kind of attention, as the story slowly but surely unravels at a jaw-dropping and captivating pace to entice the player even further. Eventually, the narrative does devolve into your typical fate of the world rests upon your shoulders deal, but considering how everything else before that occurs is told in a very fresh and original fashion, it can be forgiving and quite welcoming. The World Ends With You does not at all carry your typical action RPG gameplay. Its utilization of the DS functions are extremely intriguing as well as amusingly gratifying, and it all comes full circle with its plot and the circumstances of the characters. For reasons we can't divulge, Neku and friends are all given special influences and psychic-like abilities, which are all translated, or rather channeled, through ordinary pins that your average 16-year-old goth child could buy from Hot Topic and then proceed to stick it on every inch of their backpacks. These pins grant Neku and his various party members the strength to fight and ward off various creatures such as the Noise or the Reapers. By employing the prowess of the DS stylus, a player can scratch at the enemies on screen to have Neku slash at them, point and click to ignite your enemies with psychic-like incendiaries, or pick up various objects such as cars or street signs and wallop your foes into oblivion with them. And keep in mind that these are only some of your starting abilities, as each pin you collect offers a new technique along with a new method of using the DS functionalities. With this in mind, the possibilities are exceedingly fun and endless. You might even be so engrossed as to yell into your DS's microphone like a madman in the middle of your family living room in order to use one of Neku's screeching abilities to stun his adversaries. Meanwhile, your party member will be placed at the top DS screen and can only fight through the use of the D-pad. And in here lies the tactical processes of The World Ends With You. Not only must you keep an eye on Neku and figure out which attack is readily available for him to do with the DS stylus, but you must also hack and slash away with the D-pad for your party member to assist you. Keeping a juggle-like state on these two things may seem taxing at first, but is honestly extremely rewarding once given the time to get used to. Everything about The World Ends With You is likable and sensible. Random encounters are completely optional, yet you still have to face a few monsters in order to proceed to your next objective. Pins, food, and clothes are all sold within the shopping district, and all have a special effect on Neku and his companions. Pins, of course, give you the unique powers needed to survive in battle, food upgrades stats and character growth, and clothes are, of course, your armor and accessories. All of this may seem like your streamlined RPG attributes, and they are, but the fact that they all fit into this urban outfit scene for teenagers who roam about the concrete jungle of Tokyo, Japan, along with some catchy electronic J-pop music, puts everything into perspective, and all fits nicely together in the end. An RPG of this magnitude is not a game to be taken lightly. It offers an enriching experience like no other, and RPG gamers of all shapes, sizes, and experiences will fit right in. If there was anything at all that we could point out about the game in terms of flaws, there would only be the fact that it offers little to no side games or extra missions to distract you or extend your time with this lovely game even more. However, its replayability is definitely something one can easily stare in awe at, as the game does contain an extra hidden boss and dungeon after defeating the main game. Not only that, but you also gain the choice of replaying almost any chapter at any given point in the game and selecting your difficulty accordingly, as well as unlocking an even harder difficulty after the main game. At the end of the day, this little slice of RPG heaven is everything you could be looking for if you've been hankering for some rare and uncommon gameplay and narrative. Its gameplay is stimulating, fun, oftentimes difficult, and satisfyingly rewarding, while its plot is on par with that of your typical Final Fantasy game, except with a bit more of a modern and human existential take on it all. The World Ends With You manages to give the player that warm, fuzzy feeling inside that many of us haven't felt at all since our first encounter with a good RPG in general.